You are now listening to Feeding Off Each Other.
Welcome back to Feeding Off Each Other, the weekly podcast where we feed off the talent, humor, knowledge, and awesome stories of our guests and each other. I'm Matt Dennison, joined as always by David Go Canucks Go Wiggins. What is it? Game 5?
No, game 4.
Game 4, round 2, game 4. This is going to be an interesting time capsule that we put ourselves in. We're either going to be very sad in the future or very happy, but we're committed. And to his left, as always, joining us, Jason, the soundboard master, Lucas. The soundboard's received a little bit of hate recently.
Which means it's working perfectly.
Yeah?
It's generating comment. Would those people have commented otherwise?
That's true. No.
Is a comment better than a lost listener, though?
What? I don't know. Rage bait over a lost listener. I mean, they didn't say they stopped listening.
Yeah,
they just said it annoys them. Yeah.
Well,
maybe this is it. Maybe this is it for the soundboard. Should we abandon the soundboard?
Well, that's my only fucking job. So
what else are you gonna do if you kill the soundboard? We got nothing else for the poor guy.
These nuts.
Well, yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I might be listeners or past listeners that were listening. You just made me unemployed. Thanks.
Well, call in. We can call in on the show. Speakpipe.com/feeding off each other. We want to hear what you have to say about the soundboard, because we know if we kill the soundboard, the masses are they're gonna call in. They're gonna be upset that it's gone. You know, it's like when we decided to kill this or that.
Yes.
We thought it was a good choice, and then the people wanted it back. So
wait, hold up.
Back. Yeah. So, you know, we're kind of torn. What do we do? Because the reason that I think we had some hate was because we did the Seth podcast.
Yes.
Right. So obviously we had a lot of traffic come through. As Seth would call it, we had a lot of tourists stroll through our pod. And they don't know. They don't get us. They don't get the sense of humor. They don't get the fart jokes, right? So do we appease the tourists or the chuthers?
Is this me that's the problem, or is it the children that are wrong situation?
Yeah.
Old Principal Skinner.
I don't know. You know, I think I need to maybe take up the Joe Rogan philosophy of just don't read the comments.
You sure about that?
I'm not so sure about that. But thanks for adding to that with the soundboard. Thanks for adding something.
That's the hard part. It's all about tasteful soundboarding. You know, finding those gaps in conversation where the context works. But I don't always do that. I do blow it sometimes.
Well, I give you flowers, because when you nail it, oh boy, do you nail it. And it's impressive. It's impressive. People ask me, are you as Jason, when he's on the soundboard, are you guys adding them in post, or is it live? I say, it's live. No way. So those people love it. So if you love the soundboard,
where are they in the comments?
If you love the soundboard, call in. If you hate it, go away.
Or call in.
Okay,
we can take feedback.
All right.
It's feedbacking off each other.
Feedbacking off each other. And guys, today, very exciting, because the name of our podcast, the Feeding Off Each Other podcast, would not exist. Well, it might exist. But there's a high probability that it would not exist without today's guest. And also, guys, do I sound a little sick? Do I sound a little different? Okay, I'm just getting over the hump. I'm not contagious, I promise. I already shook.
I got worms.
Sorry. I know, way to bring that up 5 minutes in.
Yeah, sorry. I it's the elephant in the room, so just had to get it out there. Anyways, let's waste no time. No more sounds. This is the last day of the soundboard. We're almost at episode 100, guys.
That's the last episode.
It might be. But they've been saying, the people say, I don't know, a couple people said this, it takes 100 podcasts to get good. So we're still in the bad pods.
Sorry, guest.
But we're so close to the good ones. We're in the medium pods. Anyways, can you please introduce our guest today?
Jason.
Today's
guest has been. I thought you were telling me.
Oh, you guys don't even need a guest. I feel like you guys got this.
We just need a live audience.
Yeah. Basically, what you need.
Jason. Today's guest has been in the mountain biking film game since all the way back in 2004 when they released their first feature. Back then, it was under the banner of The Collective, but you probably now know them as Anthill Films. Since then, they have gone on to lead the way on a number of films that have taken place all over the world with the sport's best riders. That sport being mountain biking, of course. Outside of creating iconic mountain biking films, they have worked with clients like Toyota, Lululemon, the Canucks, go Canucks go, and many more. This person quite literally shaped our childhoods and continues to mold us as soft, squishy adults. Gentle chuthers, please welcome Darcy Wittenburg.
Welcome.
feeding
thanks,
off
guys.
each other.
Now, do you know the sound? How can we abandon the soundboard?
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
If we abandoned it, we wouldn't be able to play the clip.
Name the movie and the person.
Feeding off each other.
Mad Hunter Seasons.
There you go. Iconic. That was like one of
Yeah.
the first sounds we had on the board, I think.
I think he was quoting the claw there too,
Yes.
making fun of the claw there, which was pretty funny.
Oh,
Actually.
wow. Pretty meta.
Yeah.
So what can you say about the phrase feeding off each other?
Well, yeah. I mean, he definitely, like Matt, definitely didn't coin it or the claw there, but I guess people were already saying it a lot back then, right? So, and I think the line was something along the lines of, he's like, I hope nobody says in all these interviews like feeding off each other.
And then right after that, the claw says,
Yeah.
feeding off each other.
Exactly.
And then someone says, I hope no one calls a podcast feeding off each other.
Yeah.
It's weird foreshadowing.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like at some point in time, it just became this cliche that every little piece of mountain bike content, someone was bound to say feeding off each other.
Yeah.
And, we made fun of it in old kind of sketches. Shit mountain bikers say, actually. We had said feeding off each other like 19 times in the video. And when we were coming up with the name for the pod, it was either this or backpedaling.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, this is pretty good.
And now I
can
think
see.
backpedaling, it now exists.
I think it does.
Someone else
exist.
made it. Yeah. Much more successful than ours.
Pretty perfect name for a podcast. I feel like you guys must have been pretty happy with yourself.
Feeding off each other?
Yeah.
No, we were not happy.
No,
Really?
it tore our friendship apart.
Yeah, Dave
Really?
hates it.
Dave
I
still
was
hates it.
I was
yeah.
anti, yeah.
No way. Still to this day.
It's really long too. It's hard. Your Instagram handle is like 100 letters.
Yeah.
It's
The acronym sucks. FOEO.
Yeah.
FOEO.
Oh yeah. Well,
So does IFHT.
and then people that aren't as close to mountain biking, they're just like, is it a vampire podcast?
Yeah.
Is it a food podcast? If you search it on social media, you get a lot of breastfeeding videos, which is weird.
really? No
Yeah.
way. Wow.
Well,
I
that's-
guess that makes.
that's hot.
You start typing in feeding, and it's like, oh, lactation specialists.
I think
and-
that's just your algorithm, Dave.
yeah. It's like just like lots of yeah.
Wait, Darcy, do you know this one?
We definitely fed off each other.
Oh, I don't even know if I know this
I
one.
don't know.
We definitely fed off each other.
I don't know.
I think
What is it?
I pulled it from it's like the Neural Disorder Greatest Hits. Like
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not even it's like all the movies compiled into one movie. Oh my god, who is it? Fuck. It might be like Robbie Burden or someone.
You guys got to dig deep to find the first one. Maybe that is. Who knows?
I love now
knows?
when our
Yeah.
chuthers, they send us the clips. Like, I think it was Kevin Hart may have said it. Did he host something recently? Like the
Probably.
something like that. Anyways,
Oh,
he
yeah.
said feeding off each other. People always send us little clips. But then we never do anything. We never
Well, because they're in the middle of like a 4-hour broadcast.
Yeah,
So it's
we don't
like-
have the technology.
Yeah, or the time. But
Well,
we gotta pull more.
anyways, Darcy, how have you been?
Pretty good. Yeah, been busy. It's been a busy winter. We've been working on a new film that we just announced today.
Yeah, literally today.
Yeah. So yeah, good timing to do this. Actually, I know we didn't totally plan it that way, but yeah, it's good to.
Now, is
I
this
don't know.
why you didn't come in last week? Because
Well,
you bailed on the pod
I
an
know.
hour before.
I know. I feel bad. Yeah,
no,
I
it
do.
was actually for the best. I was like, thank God, I got stuff to do.
Oh yeah, no, it was a busy week last week, and actually it's been like just crazy for the last 6 months. So
So wait,
yeah.
no, you didn't reschedule this to line us up in your PR tour?
no,
Oh.
I didn't actually.
I thought we were the #1 stop.
Well, yeah, because this isn't live anyways, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is gonna
So,
come
yeah.
out in like 4 weeks anyways.
That would be terrible
exactly.
planning on your part.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah. Anyways, sorry, I'm a week late.
When did you finish the teaser? And was it last night at 11:59 p.m.?
No, actually, well, it would be one of my partners, Darren McCullough, was the one who edited it together, and he probably had it done at least a week ago.
pretty
maybe
good.
more.
So we
Yeah.
told you.
Yeah, so you gave me the heads up, but yeah, I don't know. It has to go through. I mean, being a co-production with Red Bull, and just with the sponsors of the film, everyone needs it a bit ahead of time to do all the proper planning and all that stuff. So, yeah.
So it's called Anytime.
Mm-hmm.
What is this film about? Mountain biking, obviously, but
Yeah, I mean, it is like, as always, like when we started planning the film, we were debating what beyond just like mountain biking, like what should it be about? But just once we started talking to all the riders and really honing in on like what it should be, like it just still always comes back to just like a good old fashioned shred flick. And yeah, so we're looking for names, and then we've been saying like anytime is our drop-in call forever. And so, yeah, I don't know. Then we started just riffing on that a little bit, and it's kind of that mentality of like always being like in the headspace of wanting to ride and always being stoked to ride and kind of anytime, anywhere. And so, yeah, just gave us something to shape all the segments together. So,
well, maybe you should have called it watermelon.
well,
I
yeah,
know that
no-
watermelon is like the infamous like drop-in call because
Yeah,
it can't be mistaken with any other word.
Well, do you guys use that or what?
We have.
Yeah.
We've gone through
Yeah,
waves.
I know like a bunch of crews use watermelon, but we never, because anytime's kind of the same thing. I think it probably came out of like saying ready and like ready anytime. And then it just, but that was like years and years and years ago that we started that.
Or maybe you should have called
Yeah.
it, did you say go or did you say no?
Yeah, that's, I feel like everyone has to learn that lesson at some point.
Oh, yeah.
I think we still learn that lesson sometimes.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's miserable.
Yeah,
Do you guys have
yeah.
like use like special hand signals to signal when it's safe to drop? Because I think we learned it for snowboarding. You do
Yeah.
the big
Circle.
circle
Yeah.
for go, or the big X with your arms for don't go.
Yeah, not anymore, but we used to do that in the earlier days. And like I filmed a lot of snowboarding in the early 2000s, and it was always the hand signals. And like we didn't always have radios back then either.
Right.
Like just huge distances, you could barely see the guy, you know. And but yeah, I don't know. Now
Yeah.
it's all radioed out.
No,
Now we
Matt.
have headsets and all that stuff too.
Yeah. No, Matt, we don't need to do hand signals. We have professional
Yeah.
equipment.
Exactly.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
with all the professional equipment, did someone still drop in when they weren't supposed to during the film?
I don't know. Like, I don't know. Maybe.
Because I
Doesn't-
feel like the stakes are way higher when you have the chopper in the air, or
Yeah.
you're burning film or whatever.
Yeah. Probably if something's being sessioned over and over again, like, and it's a bit more like casual, then I'm sure there was little ones, but none that I can remember. Because when it is like really like maybe a super long take where the rider's dropping thousands of feet, or there's like
Yeah.
major stakes on the line, we make sure the communication is like so crystal clear that nothing can get messed up. Because obviously, as a filmer, like when riders are doing something that they might only do once, like you really, yeah,
Yeah.
you can't.
Yeah. Or they've
can't
climbed to
screw
the
up.
top of a
Yeah.
ridge line and, take them like 8 hours to get back to the top.
Yeah, yeah.
What did you say in the teaser? I heard anytime. Did I hear anywhere? Did I hear
Anywhere was just down.
down the slope?
No, I didn't. I don't think I said. No, there's no way I would ever say that over the radio.
I wasn't
That was
sure.
like legit radio call. No, I think it was just down in the comment
Oh, okay.
kind of thing. Yeah, but
So did you call anytime on the radio because you knew, all right, this is the title of the film. We got to get a clean soundbite of me saying, all right, anytime, coming soon.
yeah, no, the drop-in call came first, so we didn't have to fake that one.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, it's legit. But yeah, sometimes when it's a pretty important one too, I'll say it over and over just to make sure that they don't hear the like last half of it. Just be like time, like what? So
Right.
yeah,
I also noticed in the description of the teaser, it was described as an immersive film. So that made me believe that it was going to be like a 3D or like a VR.
oh,
Is there something that you're not telling us?
no, no,
Okay, immersive is just
nothing like that.
They throw dirt
some-
at you as someone roosts in the
4D.
theater.
Yeah.
Emotionally immersive.
I see.
Marketing words make it sound cool. It's just like, I mean, the idea was, we're still in the process of editing it too. So, but it's just to try to make it feel as seamless as possible. Like it's one of those things, like when you're putting a mountain bike film together, like it's always going to be segmented. Cause like, unless you have an actual like storyline that's carrying you through the whole thing, which usually action sports films don't have, it's going to be like trip segments or rider segments. And so we're just like always been working towards like making that feel like as smooth as possible. So it's not just like start end. So we'll see where we land on that. That's what we're going for.
Will you guys do an in-person premiere viewing party?
Yeah, there will be the world premiere will be up in Whistler doing Crankworks.
Oh,
Yeah.
That'll
So,
be pretty chill, pretty calm, probably.
yeah, just like a mellow, little quiet little.
Super.
oh,
thing.
awesome.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah,
But,
that's sweet. That's very sweet.
Yeah, that's when the world premiere will be, and then that'll kick off the film tour, which we're also working on. But usually we get around 100 locations around the world, but we will just go to a handful because they're all happening within like a 1 month period. So yeah, that's how it'll roll out.
Howdly dood each other, nation. You love the show, you love the pod, you love the boys. Well, why don't you support us by purchasing some of our merch on mahalamaido.com.
That's right, Matthew. We've got the finest selection of t-shirts, stickers, and hats you've ever seen. Plus, we even have feeding off each other sticker packs so that you can proudly show off your love for the show on a mug, laptop, your dog, your mom, whatever.
And as a special gift to you, our beloved Chuthers, we're offering 10% off your next order with the code FEEDING. That's right, head to mahalamaido.com and use code FEEDING for 10% off your next order.
And now,
Back to the pod.
So Dave and I will be visiting the Canucks viewing party tonight, which is a pretty good time.
Yeah.
$20 tickets, and you just watch it on the Jumbotron. I would say worth it. What has been the best viewing party in your career for one of your films? I have some vivid memories of watching, I think it was New World of Sorrow 7 or something, in like the foam pit in the Air Dome. I said this once to on a previous pod. That was was my favorite viewing party. I was like a young kid.
Party.
Yeah.
But I wonder, like, what's the like rowdiest, most unhinged viewing party you can recall for one of your films?
I don't know. We've been to so many. It's like one that really stands out. I mean, when we did the earlier films at the Ski and Snowboard Festival in April in Whistler in the conference center, that was a good venue because we'd have around like 12 to 1,400 people in there. So you'd have like a good sized crowd, and that always felt like good energy, and it was really big. But yeah, I don't know. Vancouver usually have good shows at the Vogue and stuff. Like, yeah. But
what did you show at the Vogue?
I don't even remember which movie. We've done a bunch of them there.
We've probably been to a few and since forgotten.
I think maybe the last one we did there would have been Unreal.
Oh yeah, I think I attended.
Yeah, that was a good one. But I mean, when we did like way back in the day, when we did Roman Seasons, we did like a West Coast tour where we did like 14 premieres in a row and just like drove all the way to San Diego and hit a different show every night. And that was pretty cool. And the last one in San Diego, I still remember it was just like, it's interesting. It was almost like being in a band where you get to see how different crowds react to the same thing. And you kind of learn like, oh, this is a good crowd. This is a mellow crowd. And they were like super rowdy in San Diego, like screaming at the screen and all that. And you're like, so yeah, that was one that stood out.
Is it frustrating though, showing it to that many audiences and then seeing where the lulls are and not being able to change it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a weird one too. Like you'd never know sometimes like if silence is a good thing or a bad thing. If someone's really engaged, sometimes they're silent. When if they're bored and they don't like it, they'll be silent. So you're like, you don't always know what it means. Yeah.
There's always just that thing though where you're showing someone something and it almost doesn't really matter what their reaction is, but you can feel something different for what you're viewing if someone is present.
Yeah.
And then you often go and change it if it's in the early stages, right? You're like, oh, okay. There's a dip in energy there.
Yeah, I know what you mean though. Like when we get close to finishing a film, like it is important to show it to other people because you become like so self-conscious of certain decisions or things that are in there that you just, for some reason, it doesn't hit you when you watch it with others that have already seen it, you know? Or, so yeah, we've been doing that more and more with more recent films where like by the time it comes out, maybe like 40 or 50 people have seen it that are outside of the team, you know? So
we actually talked about this on our last pod. We suggested to people who are like creating content to show their like family members or friends their films because they'll kind of know right away whether they did a good job or not so
Yeah.
good job with it. Is there someone in your circle, besides the people that you work with, that you kind of trust to show your films? Like your wife or your kids or a friend?
It always changes. Like each film we've done, like I feel like we're always bringing in fresh eyes, because if someone's too close to you, like, I don't know, like, I mean, I always show my wife everything and ask her opinion, but she always is like, oh my, like loves it. So I'm like, well, that's not really like a neutral opinion. So like I need to, yeah, it's often, I mean, there's always sponsors involved, and they're going to be very, like critical and like conscious, and I don't know if like nervous is the right word, but you know, they've invested into it, and so they want it to be good. So like those are definitely some like good opinions, because
And also with the clients, they're sometimes trying to justify their work and their job and their role, and they feel like they need to give you some feedback just for the sake of giving feedback, maybe.
yeah, oh yeah, I mean that happens too. Sometimes you got to sift through that. You're like, okay, that's you just like coming up with things, but yeah, I think it's always just about showing it to just different people. Like I really like the cross section of different opinions, because some people are looking at the camera work and others are looking at the writing, and some people are paying attention to the audio or music or whatever. So yeah, when we do that, like you just get such different feedback. It's like the collection of everyone, and I try to look for the patterns, and if everyone is like saying the same negative comment, then you know it's not just opinion, like it's a thing you need to fix.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Sometimes the truth comes out, and it you just know you got to take action on it.
yeah, pretty much.
So being in the same space in production and mountain biking, we've experienced a little bit of like a lull in work and money.
Mm-hmm.
How has the dip in the mountain bike industry affected your company?
We have been affected by it, like everyone has. Like I think overall budgets have gotten tighter, and it hasn't really slowed down for us. I mean, this project has been in the works for over 2 years now. So, and we're always like constantly trying to stay ahead and always have work, because we're a team of 11 people. So we need to be like on top of stuff. But I feel like we've gotten off like lucky so far. The fact that we've had like a big project to keep us really busy, but definitely noticed it with like new things that we're like trying to get going, you know, over the next year. You can see that you're like, okay, like a lot of the normal places where you might go for funding, people just, it's tight, right? And really noticed it like spending the last year with so many different riders. Every single person you talk to is feeling the pinch and has had some sort of cut or something. Yeah. So, but this has been like the worst like dip in the mountain bike industry that we've ever seen, but it's not the only one. And like, it does bounce back, and I'm sure it will. And like, I feel like with some of the younger riders we've worked with, it's been important to remind them that, because they're just like, oh, so like we missed the boat, like it's over now. And it's like, it's not over. Like it'll bounce back, but
yeah,
just got to weather the storm.
Yeah. I mean, and like, just keep making stuff, I guess. Even if you don't earn money from it, just keep making stuff.
Yeah, pretty much. I think so. Because I think the other worry that a lot of people might have is that like, oh, it's going to drive the rates down, but that just goes with the market. Like, I think it's the same thing in something like real estate. Like house prices go down, they go back up, but typically over time they're going up. And I think that's going to be the same thing. Like, people shouldn't be afraid to make content, even if they're doing it for cheaper than they're used to, because as soon as there's more money, the competition ramps up and everyone gets busy, and people just start charging what their time is worth at the end of the day. So
I remember years back, we were working with a partner, and I felt like we deserved a little bit more money for the project. And I said, can we get a higher budget? And they said, well, now, Matt, you know Darcy from Anthill Films, right? And I said, yeah. Well, they have other clients like A&W. Why don't you get some more jobs like that on the side? Okay, well, I'll just call them A&W.
yeah.
And take the low rate. But
Easier said than done.
yeah, I always remember that though, because I'm like, well, yeah, I would take the AW jobs if I had them, but I got nothing.
Yeah. I know those are hard to rely on too. You know, we dip in and out of the commercial world, and it's funny because when we want it to be there, sometimes we're like, okay, like we're, you know, open for business, and you try to get out there and network, but unless you're operating in that space all the time, you're just not at the forefront of people's minds. But yeah, I don't know. We do that stuff every now and then, and it's pretty fun. But as soon as you do a little bit of that, you always come back to the cozy mountain bike world because it's pretty fun and like-minded people and all that stuff, right? So
Yeah, I mean, you've reached outside to A&W, obviously. How many pieces have you done for A&W?
I don't know, maybe around 10 now.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
with the guy, what's his name?
Alan.
Alan?
Yeah,
That guy's a legend.
yeah.
I heard he's a real metalhead.
He really?
Yeah.
He is into music.
How
big
do you
time.
know that?
Because a friend of mine's ex-girlfriend worked on campaigns with him. She worked for, I can't remember what marketing firm. And she said she traveled to Europe with him. And then after a shooting day, he went to some like underground metal show and was super into it. And it was just a weird juxtaposition of how you think of him and how he might actually be.
He is like super into music, like big time, but into all types of music.
Okay.
Like it's not just metal, but he's, I think, one of those people that has an appreciation for like anything. So like if you brought him to a metal show or any other kind of music, I think he'd be into it. But I'm actually going to see him after this tonight.
What?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Tell him we say hi.
Yeah.
The Feeding Off Each Other podcast says hi.
Yeah, I will. Yeah. There's just going to be that little screening for that. For this little doc that we helped A&W do about the Whistle Dog hot dog, which was like on the menu for years. And then like there was this like movement of people who were like, bring back the Whistle Dog, and they like started a
Whistleblowers?
campaign.
Whistler dog.
Don't know what they call themselves, but yeah, it was pretty funny. Like a quirky little like obscure community out there that is super into their hot dogs. Anyway.
Dave, you got that dog in you.
Yeah,
It's true.
So the agency that we worked with on it, they like edited together this mini doc and they put it out to festivals, and it just fucking killed it.
Oh wow.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It was kind of funny because it was like we had just worked on that around the same time we had done the engine inside, and we were like just getting that out to film festivals, which is like a grind to get it going. Like, and at first it was the kind of slow pickup, and we were like, oh man. And meanwhile, this like hot dog documentary was like crushing it and getting
It's a
it to every
documentary.
film festival.
Yeah.
That's what they call it.
Whistle
A
Dog
documentary,
inside.
actually.
A dog
It's
dog
right
world.
there.
I know it's hard not to,
Yeah.
to go there.
Wait, so where are you seeing him? Are you gonna eat hot dogs and?
There might be some hot dogs there. It's at the Rio Theater tonight.
Okay.
fun.
Oh,
Yeah.
Canucks viewing party.
They are trying to figure out what to do about that because it's just before the game and
Oh.
everyone wants to watch the game.
Of course.
So they're probably going to put it on the screen because I don't know. We had that happen to us too. Actually, it was when we did Unreal at the Vogue, and it was when the Canucks were like deep in the playoffs, and we what did we do? We played the whole game. We let people come in early. And we played the game on the big screen, and then did the premiere afterwards, later than we were planning, because basically everyone was telling us like, dude, you have to change the premiere night and all that, and we're like, the Vanderhams out there who are just like crazy sports fanatics were like, you can't have a premiere on the Canucks game. But
The city kind of shuts down. You kind of can't. Like
Yeah.
Stars on Ice got canceled
Yeah.
at Rogers Arena. I think it was supposed to be tonight, and then they were like, no, we're gonna do a viewing party, and they kicked them out.
That's insane.
Well, because they can
Yeah.
fill they know they can fill
Yeah,
a
of
stadium
course.
for the hockey game just for a viewing party, but they're not.
And
gonna
it's for
fill
charity.
It.
All the money from the viewing party goes straight to charity.
Allegedly.
Discounted beers.
oh yeah,
Discounted whistle dogs.
we'll see.
Double
Yeah.
price.
Now wait, does Alan actually work at A&W in any capacity, or is he just
No,
This is an actor.
He's an actor.
Oh,
He's not even
Break my
Canadian.
heart.
He's not even Canadian.
No,
Yeah,
what?
I wasn't
Come
gonna
on.
say it because he likes to keep that like low pro. but
Oh.
He lives in LA.
And it's funny because he would only be recognizable in Canada because
Yeah.
they're only Canadian. Like A&W does have an American branch, but they're completely separate companies, is my understanding.
I don't even know if they have stores down there.
I think
They do,
They do.
just not very many.
not many, maybe.
And they have the root beer.
The root beer is big in the States, and
Yeah.
everyone thinks it's that. And a lot of Americans are surprised that there's like
Yeah.
an actual restaurant. There's, I think, 1,000 across Canada.
When you on a road trip,
Mhm.
in NBC at least, like guaranteed there's gonna be an A&W. And beside that, there's gonna be a Subway. It's just those two everywhere you go.
Yeah.
I don't know how the A&W took over like that. Not even a McDonald's. There's more A&Ws than McDonald's.
Probably.
Might be cheaper to franchise.
Oh no, we're going outside of our area of expertise now.
This is why I love podcasts. You never know what you're gonna talk
Yeah,
about
like-
for 30 minutes. Anyways.
You're like,
So tell us
starting
more
to
about
get-
Alan.
Wait, Alan. You gotta tell Alan to visit the podcast. Tell him to listen.
I'm going
I'm
to.
asking you nicely. Maybe you can invite him on the pod.
Yeah, probably come on.
That'd be awesome.
We'll
Why don't you
share
guys
with
come down and fanboy tonight? Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we got a viewing party to attend.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course. Of course.
I would go otherwise. I live down the street from the Rio. It would be great.
Oh, there you go.
Get some dogs.
Yeah, I don't know. Brazil's a long way away. I can't make it. All right. So mountain bike films. What are we talking about?
Yeah, mountain bike films.
So
I had a question. I have a
Go ahead.
question. So you, I was reading this really old interview you did with like Radek from Pink Bike when The Collective came out, and you
Yeah.
said the budget for that film was $100K.
Yeah.
and I also listened to a podcast of you on the way
Yeah.
here, and you said your only goal for your first film, The Collective, was to make your money back.
Yes. Which was not much because, yeah, I think we had about 70,000 from sponsors, which was actually
In 2004 money,
decent.
that's not bad.
From 70 sponsors.
And then, but one of the other big things that we did is like we were, I remember the snowboarding film Robot Food. They had the riders had some sort of stake or an investment in the film,
Yeah.
and so we knew we needed like some initial money to get it off the ground, and so we actually had like a few of the riders invest their own money in the film, and we had a deal where they, as soon as it made any money at all, we'd pay them back, and then they would get like a few percent of the film, which actually turned out to be one of the most important things because it gave us the money to start it. And then when we went down to Interbike at the time to pitch the movie, the pitch was going reasonably well, but when we got to the point where we were saying like, they would always ask, do you have any money yet? And we're like, well, the riders have invested. And actually hearing that like some of the top riders at the time had invested in the movie really was like, oh, wow, you guys must be onto something here. And that I felt like put it over the edge and allowed us to actually get the thing going. And yeah, they all made their money back and a little more than doubled their money. So
Now, when you say
That's
mountain
good.
bikers invested, I'm picturing like $2, some belly button lint, and a button.
yeah.
What kind of money are we talking about?
Well, it was that remaining, it was like $25,000. Yeah, between all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was like $5,000 each, and yeah, it was it was critical, actually.
And so, did you make your money back?
They did. They
No, well,
made-
as a company, did you make your money back?
oh yeah,
Surely the collective. Is
yeah,
done well.
yeah, it did. I mean, those days were also like, in a lot of ways, the glory days of like it was simpler in the way that if you just like got your film out there and like reasonably distributed and marketed, like you could do pretty good selling DVDs. So, and then we did our own distribution in British Columbia. Like I would just do it myself. Like I realized I'm like, man, we'll make way more if I just like phone the shops and just put them in the mail, or just like I would just do runs down to Vancouver and just like hit up all the shops and drop off DVDs.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it was good enough that we were like, we didn't really know what to expect. We just wanted to make a movie, and it went pretty well. So we were like, well, let's do that again. And then, Rome did even better. And then at that point, we were like, well, we should just make it a trilogy and do seasons.
Yeah, well, it's impressive because we talk about sequelitis, where you make a
Yeah.
sequel and it doesn't do as well. But you guys were blessed with the opposite.
Yeah, we got lucky with that. I think. And I don't know, we didn't really, you never know. Like you always make stuff and you're super like self-conscious of it. And you're like, are people going to like this or not? And then, but yeah, I don't know. The Rome seemed to really take off more so than the Collective. I think a lot of people think that's our first movie because we self-titled the Collective, but by also being called the Collective, of course.
Did you guys do the editing contests when you released the film? Like I know there was one for Life Cycle.
I thought there was one for Rome.
Wasn't there one for Seasons?
I think it was Seasons
Yeah.
where we
Maybe
did.
Seasons.
It was like edit your own trailer.
Like
Actually-
an Aaron LaRock probably crushed it.
What a bastard.
Yeah,
You know-
Sandbanger.
Yeah.
That was the one that I think Matty Miles won it.
Oh,
And we didn't know him at all. But yeah, it was funny because we immediately needed to hire somebody afterwards. And then, so I think we started doing some projects with him right away. And then we were worried people were going to think it was like an inside scoop because,
yeah.
but no, Matty Miles put something together. And man, there was a camera up for grabs too that I think was the prize.
Oh, was it like a
Really
Sony?
remember.
You guys were working with
I thought it was a Panasonic.
We could probably Google this.
It was probably, I
Maybe.
thought it was a Panasonic. I think it was before we started working with Sony.
Look up like Seasons video editing contest or something. Yeah,
Got
I'm pretty
it.
sure
Yeah.
if we go deep enough into my Pink Bike archives, you'll definitely find a Life Cycles like trailer recut. But
Oh, yeah.
Seasons, I'm pretty sure because like back in the day when you just gave out footage like
Yeah.
B-roll to edit to,
Yeah.
you had to find your own music, I believe.
Yeah.
And it probably took me like 4 days to download the footage.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
it was
Really?
like,
Did you
I
put
don't
one
know.
together? Yeah.
I must have. I mean, that was like that was like awesome when I was
Yeah.
a kid. I wish they still existed now.
There
I know, we
was
should do
a
something like that.
contest.
Yeah, absolutely. You should do that.
The Seasons Recut video contest.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. So it was.
Yeah, there's hundreds of entries on Pink Bike that people have. There's like a whole playlist you can go
Crazy.
through.
And this is the year.
2008, which is
But-
hard to do in 2008, I think.
Yeah.
To get
I
that
know.
much footage to people back then,
Yeah.
Oh my God.
be a nightmare.
I know. Thinking that is that long ago, it does seem crazy that even worked.
Yeah.
But yeah, we did a fun one with Follow Me too, where we were getting people. It wasn't a recut contest, but it was getting people to put the logo in places and take photos of it. So people were like projecting it on the sides of buildings and taking photos and like putting it on the sides of like delivery vans and
That's awesome.
printing stuff out. It was actually a good way to get like the name out there and the logo of the film out there. Like people just like those contests are always pretty fun. People just take that stuff on and
Yeah.
run with it.
I think
Yeah.
did you guys also give away like a really nice bike for Unreal.
Yeah,
like
we did. It started with Rome, where, at the time, Specialized was sponsoring those movies, and they made like there was a custom Rome painted bike, and then
Yeah.
we did one for Seasons, and then we did. Obviously we started working a lot with Trek. We did it for Follow Me. We have one of those frames in our office. Yeah, Unreal. Trying to think.
You know how
Most
many
recently,
times
yeah.
people, like just random people who aren't bikers, have sent me the one shot Brandon Semenuk Unreal segment? Like, hey, thought you would enjoy this. Like,
Really?
I've received it 75 times.
That's hilarious.
And
yeah.
that's like true viral content right there.
Yeah, that one hit a lot of views, like a crazy amount. I've had the same thing happen where, like, especially when we do stuff in the commercial world, they're like, "Oh, you guys do mountain biking? Oh, no way! Have you seen the one with the guy on the green slope riding down the hill?"
Like I made that.
Yeah, it was. It did really well on Facebook. That was like in a moment when like Facebook video launched, and so like I think it must have gotten like well over 100 million views, but it was like all these random different sources, like random people had like 20 million views here and 10 million views there, and yeah, whether they watched the whole thing, like who knows? Because that view count wasn't like.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
Complete
sure they
views.
do.
Yeah.
It's one take. Come on. You
Yeah,
sit through one take.
Yeah,
One really good take. How many times did that take?
actually, that was the only take.
Did I say take too many times?
Yeah, starting to
Wasn't
sound
it
weird.
one? Wasn't it actually a oneer?
It was.
Yeah.
It took 10 days to like. It was a 1 month project with 3 weeks of building, and then we like once Brandon showed up and we like tried to like get the shot. That was like a 10-day process, and he only got the one
Oh wow.
take.
Wow. Don't say take. Don't say take.
take.
Yeah, well, it's 2 videos that I get all the time. Hey, thought you'd like this, from like random people. It's always like people I knew in high school, haven't talked to in like 10 years. It's that video, and also, can you guess it?
One you've made?
Danny McCaskill with the kid in the stroller, or not the stroller, in the bike trailer doing the backflips.
Mm-hmm.
Always get those sent to me.
No way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. You guys have made some pretty legendary videos, though. It's pretty awesome. Yeah.
Shitty Crafts.
Yeah, Shitty Crafts 2.
I don't know if you've seen that one.
Shitty Crafts 3.
Yeah, show that to Alan tonight, those ones.
No, don't. Please, God, don't.
Well, you probably only like caught wind of our films because your kids are watching them. It's only 6-year-olds who watch our videos.
No. Well, no, I obviously watched a ton of your stuff before, but it was funny. I think because I hadn't seen you in a while, but I was at the Air Rec Center. I remember that's when my kids were like Max, like IFHT fans. And yeah, that Christmas, I'm pretty sure I gave you guys.
Isn't your kid named Max?
Yes.
Oh, we doxed him.
Yeah.
Blur that
I
out.
know, yeah.
Beep
Exactly.
that. Beep that. He's on your Instagram. Come on. Anyways.
Yeah. He's never gonna watch this. That's for sure. But
He grew up.
Yeah.
yeah. No. But I don't know. Something with me, the last thing you would ever do is watch anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I'm pretty sure I spent a couple $100 at Christmas one year on
Oh,
I
yes.
Only Ride Park, like socks and hoodies and all of my dude stuff, and yeah, they're pretty into it.
Yeah. I do
Yeah.
appreciate that. I remember that actually.
Yeah.
Probably sent you some extra freebies. Speaking of which, we still have a few XL shirts for the big boned out there. So feeding off each other shirts, use code BIGBONE for 20% off. MahalaMyDude.com. Thanks for reminding me, Darcy.
Great success.
What kind of shirt do you wear? An XL?
I don't. No, just
Small
standard
bone.
large.
Just standard large. Jason, are you an XL?
I'm an XL.
He calls himself an XL boy, actually.
He does, yeah.
Or thick, as the kids say nowadays. 2 C's.
I think you might have body dysmorphia if you think you're thick.
I like to identify as thick.
Yeah,
You can identify as whatever you want
you
these
don't look.
days.
You don't look thick.
Darcy, we have some photos from your Instagram that we thought you could explain for us. We did some creeping.
Okay.
Now this is on your public Instagram. I think it's public, right? You don't have a private gram, do you?
No.
Okay. So
My own.
your own.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, no one. It's only people I know that go on there. So
we got four photos here. Let's pull up the first
I
one.
already know where you're going with this. Yeah. Exactly.
You already know. Oh,
Okay,
Yeah.
boomer.
look at that head of hair. Holy smokes.
Yeah, I know.
Explain.
Memories. Well, that
I
was
love the hair.
that was when I had hair. What you can't see in this photo is that there's like a sports band actually holding those glasses onto my head. 'Cause,
Oh,
Sick.
yeah, I ran that all the time.
sportsman. What kind of sports were you playing?
I was in gymnastics.
Right.
Yes. It's probably one of the next photos. I don't
You got
even
video
know.
footage of you doing flips and
Oh yeah, like on like VHS tapes.
you
like
got to
that.
post those next.
Yeah.
Throwback Thursday.
Yeah, I probably should. I haven't looked at any of that stuff in
So
30 years. I don't even know. Like
It's worth a
forever.
viewing.
Yeah.
okay, there's $10,000 on the line for one backflip, flat backflip. Can you do it?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Wow.
No problem.
First try?
Oh yeah.
How many takes?
But
Okay,
what'll
bring out the
happen?
sack of cash.
What'll happen? Yeah, I'd be more than happy to do it. But what'll happen is I'll tear all my stomach muscle. Like once I like stopped doing gymnastics, every time I would do a backflip,
I've
I'd
been
be
there.
kind of sore the next day. But I did make $100 off Aggie for this exact scenario because we were in Canvas once. Like we were walking from one bar to the next, and somehow it came up about doing a backflip. And he's like, "There's no fucking way you can do one, dude." And I was like, $100 will do it right now on the sidewalk. And he's like, held up $100. Did not think I could do it.
Holy
Yeah.
crap. That's impressive.
That is impressive.
Now I've been there. I hit the gymnast. What do you call it? Gymnastics place.
Yeah.
Call it.
Gymnasium?
It's gymnasium.
Gym for short. Yeah.
Foam pit. Air Rec Center.
There's
and
got to be a shorter name for this.
the Gaim. And I learned how to do the, what do you call them? Like, what do you call just a regular backflip?
Oh, just a backflip.
I thought there was like a certain name. Anyways,
I don't know. Oh, like
prax-
a gainer but a gainer is if you're
No.
traveling forward, right?
Yeah.
So,
anyways, I the first day I learned how to do them, or I was working on them. That night, I absolutely could not move in bed. Like I've experienced that. All the stomach muscles just torn. It's insane how much that hurts.
yeah. No, you need to be doing them all the time, or need to be.
So
Yeah.
what else can you do?
Now, probably just a lot of, I don't know, handstand stuff. I could probably press up to a handstand. In
I like the way you
chair.
keep looking.
I'm like,
you're
I
about
can
to
just
do
kind of
it.
like
Stroke
do
in the
whatever.
zone.
I don't know.
You're getting
Yeah.
me excited.
I got headphones on. There's a mic in the way. I can't do it.
Man.
Yeah.
What about back in the day? What was your like best trick?
Well, you kind of did a bit of everything. So, but we could do like a lot of, I don't know, like a quint on the trampoline.
Quint?
Could do that.
Quint what?
Like five back, like in a row, or like in one. I don't know what it is.
One
That-
air.
A quint, yeah, like not a double or a triple or a quad or a quint.
You're like this, knees tucked into the stomach, just
Yeah,
spinning.
just like.
What do you even see when you're doing that?
Nothing.
How do you
Nothing
know?
at all.
How do you know if you're gonna land on your head or not?
Well, you just have to. I don't know. I mean, you do that stuff. Obviously, you work your way up to that, so you just know. I don't know. The same. Ask Emil how he knows where he is when he's doing stuff.
I believe he's a robot that calculates that.
Yeah,
He has an
yeah.
algorithm going
Yeah,
on.
I don't know.
Did that translate to biking at all? Were you doing tricks on biking?
No, I never really like. I mean, I've been biking since I was a kid, like really young, and was like mountain biking, like I don't know, at like 10 years old or whatever. But I never got into the trick side of it. It did translate into snowboarding. Like when I moved to Whistler when I was like 19 and was, I've been snowboarding ever since. And like, yeah, a lot of flip tricks and combos like that came pretty easily on the snowboard. But I mean, I can backflip a bike, but
Well, we've got
That's
a
about-
ram.
$100,000. You want to see it all?
yeah.
So do you put your kids into all this like gymnastic stuff? And
No, nothing. No, they're not really in anything structured. Like, yeah, they're, I mean, they've both been into biking since they, could be on run bikes. But my older son, Max, he's just about to
Believe
turn
that.
17. He's, he's really into skateboarding. Like, that's his 24/7. And then my younger son, Ben, he is super into flying, and he's in ground school right now to be a pilot. So,
amazing.
yeah, really wants to be a pilot, or wants to get his license before he's 16. So that's what he's going for.
Wait, so skateboarding? Does he
Yeah.
still bike?
Not really.
What the heck,
I know.
Max?
Yeah, he won't give up his bikes. He thinks he still rides, but he actually only does a few times a year.
He'll come around. He'll come
A
around.
few times a year. Yeah, it's,
It'll
it's true.
all, at one point I was scootering more than I was biking. So that
Yeah.
was last week.
I don't think you should publicly admit that.
Okay, explain that gram number 2.
Oh, this is out of
Minimize it a little bit there.
a beautiful British Columbia magazine up at Elfin Lakes. Yeah, my dad has a pretty good collection of those magazines going back to like the mid 60s. But I don't know, this is like Elfin Lakes in Squamish. I mean, it's right up kind of in the backyard, so to speak, like at the top of like the 19th hole shuttle zone. And I don't know why I posted this, but I was pretty stoked. It was cool to see the old cabin and
Can you flip through
what
it,
it
bro?
looked like up there. So
Yeah, well, you were kind of expressing your appreciation for where we
yeah.
live here in British Columbia.
oh yeah. There are some cool shots. Yeah, that's a neat one too. Whistler, what it looked
Yeah.
like back in the day.
That big red. and,
Crazy.
When it had snow.
Like the roundhouse?
Yeah, that's right where the roundhouse
Oh
would
my
be.
God.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah,
there'd be like
exactly.
1,000 people drunk on the patio.
Yeah, we're like peak to peak and all that's like unrecognizable other than obviously the mountains themselves. But yeah.
So yeah, I was just kind of interested in your, appreciation for BC,
Yeah, look at
and
that.
you must love it here. But you've traveled the
Yeah.
world. Is there anywhere else in the world that you could see yourself living?
That's a good question. And totally reminds me of a quote from like Bryce Minnick. I don't know if you guys know him, but editor at Free Hub and used to be a bike mag forever. And he was always like, man, I always feel sorry for you guys from BC because like wherever you go in the world is never as good as where you're from. And I was like, huh, you know, and I'm like, yeah, where would I actually go? There's not many places. New Zealand is definitely one that's pretty amazing, but it's, you know, I don't know. It's isolated. So like, I know like a lot of Kiwis and they're like, yeah, I mean, the one thing is you're kind of there. Like BC is pretty amazing that you can just like cruise to other parts of North America. I don't know that, or I mean, I'm also a Swiss citizen and I've spent a lot of time in Switzerland. So like, I definitely love it over there as well. That'd probably be the other place. Like I could see myself spending like a season there, you know, or some time there. If I could figure out how to afford it.
Swiss citizenship.
Yeah.
You from
I was
Switzerland?
born here, but
Okay.
my dad is Swiss. My mom's German, but so they came over here on a boat in 1967. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. Anyways, but those are, I don't know. It's tough to beat BC.
Yeah.
Sorry for everyone listening there.
Well, we talked
from
about
BC.
what BC could have more of to make it even just a tad better. I think last time we talked about this, we said campsites, more campsites.
Yeah.
Something that Europe seems to have dialed.
Well, we haven't like it's funny too, just talking to like our, you know, my parents and their generation, like all the camping like infrastructure that we have in at least this part of BC was all like, it's all been there since the 60s and 70s. Like it hasn't really been upgraded. Like we had so many people are out there doing stuff. Like it's crazy how limited it is and how packed everywhere is. So
Totally, yeah.
just got to be willing to go a little further, basically.
All right.
Yeah.
Final Graham to explain. Number 3.
Oh yeah, this is some chicken sashimi in Japan.
Oh,
Now, is this
I didn't
supposed to
eat
look
it.
like this?
I got worms.
You didn't eat it.
I didn't.
That
No.
laugh brought to you by the soundboard, everybody.
Yeah, it was a good, nice one. No, but I don't
Dude.
know. I remember putting out his question, and then yeah, we were there filming for the Olympic Channel. We were doing like a skate at it with Yuto Horigome, which is actually really sick. In Tokyo, and his manager was with us and he ordered it and he's like, you guys have to try it. And,
Oh, dear God.
but,
seems like a gag order, you know.
Is
that
it-
they, like, show
yeah,
you up
no,
for.
it's legit. But I guess I don't know enough about it, but
Is
something with the preparation of it.
It's safe. Safe
Like,
to eat.
He was like, you can, but I didn't want to roll the dice. This was like the first night, like we got to Japan, went straight to a restaurant and chicken sashimi shows up. I was like, that would be a bit of a dice roll on day one of a trip.
Oh, yeah.
Reminds me of an
It's pretty gross.
old Yellow Pages commercial. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't know.
And
Okay,
it's,
boomer.
It's this
Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly.
Reminds me of radio.
Yeah.
Another great soundbite.
It's this couple and they work they own a restaurant and they're like, honey, I don't get it. No one wants to come to our restaurant. And then it cuts outside and they're called Sam and Ella's Chicken.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's basically that right there. Yeah.
Oh,
Nice one.
Yeah, those were the
Yeah.
most interesting Grahams I thought we could talk about. There is
Yeah.
actually one more, but maybe we'll pull it up a little later. Wanted to go back a little bit to like the start of Anthill Films. Now, listening to the podcast on my way here,
Yeah.
I learned that you named it Anthill Films because you were trying to name it after something like creatures or beings or something that work together and accomplish more as a group than they do individually.
Yeah.
You had a list. Do you remember any other names that you had on the list besides Anthill? Anthill Films?
I don't really. I don't know if I said that I don't think I did.
No.
Oh.
But we have some suggestions if
okay.
you know, maybe you need to rebrand in the future. And we just
Yeah.
kind of wanted to workshop these.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
game?
Yeah. Okay. Let's go for it.
All right, number 1, Beehive Productions.
Like a little takeoff behave.
Oh,
Like
oh,
yeah.
Beehive.
Oh, beehive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That can play at the end, you know,
Yeah, I
after
mean-
the credits have rolled. Oh, the hive.
Yeah, it's all in the tone
Yeah.
of how you say that one. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so
All
you
right.
got something there.
Okay,
maybe.
depending on the type of movies
But-
we're making, but sure.
You know, beehives, they work together. They accomplish a lot. You know,
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
queen.
Beyonce fans might be pissed though.
Mm-hmm.
That's the beehive.
Mm.
Could be
Why?
a lawsuit.
Is that a?
That's what they call themselves. Well, that's like the collective of Beyonce
Oh,
fans.
really?
It's called Beehive.
They call her Queen Bee.
Yeah, she's Queen Bee.
Okay,
Wow.
well maybe
I'm glad I. Yeah.
we'll
okay.
put that one on ice. Okay,
Yeah.
number 2, termite mound pictures.
Termite mound pictures.
That-
That sounds like, yeah, not like a company I would hire.
It rolls off the tongue though, just effortlessly.
Termite mound. Yeah.
I'm concerned the place that I live in, they got like termites or carpenter ants, and they're destructive. I'm not a fan.
I think the carpenter ants though cancel out the termites because they rebuild, right?
Oh yeah.
And we get Anthill
Symbiotic.
Farms quite a bit. Like it often like will have shipping packages, or like if you're dealing with, I don't know, something like the credit card or whatever on the phone and you have to say Anthill Films, people are like, oh, Anthill Farms. And yeah.
Is that because of
Those-
Brain Farm Productions? Or
I don't know.
Production company?
No, well, no, because it's people that don't know like what we are, what
Right.
we do. That,
Well, you think that's bad? Try saying IFHT over the phone.
oh yeah, I guess. people are
Idaho
like, what?
Foxtrot Hotel Tango.
Oh yeah, of course. For sure, you've had to do that.
Oh yeah, that's the only 4-letter phonetics I know. All right, number 3, elephant herd movies. Now I don't know what it is about elephants, but I guess they work together.
So they hear the movies.
Like,
Yeah.
and it could be any herd then. Yeah.
Yeah, like I made a new movie. You heard?
Oh my god, that was just the setup. That's all that was. Yeah.
All right, we hate it. We hate it. Okay, number 4, Swarm Studios.
Oh, swarm.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
That one rolls off the tongue.
Yeah. They all have like, yeah, like it can be definitely a negative thing, like a swarm. But I guess an anthill is kind of a gross thing if you
I don't want an Anthill.
picture.
A little bit. You know, my take
Yeah.
on Anthill was I thought the meaning was because you just kind of started something and before you knew it, the anthill grew into a mountain.
Ah,
And you know, you
yeah.
just kept it going. You didn't
Yeah,
know what
yeah.
you were building.
You could easily come up with that. Yeah.
My own interpretation.
Yeah.
All right, so Swarm Studios, that's on ice. Lastly, Beaver Dam Cinema. Very Canadian. They work together.
Very Canadian.
Very Canadian.
Yeah. I don't know. Might stick with Anthill.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll keep
I don't
Beaver
know if we're
Dam.
going to rebrand just yet.
We'll keep Beaver Dam.
Yeah.
We almost, we
Yeah.
have the bear, right? IFHC. We almost had a beaver at one point. Because when we were making our brand, we used 99designs.com. This is not an ad, but it should be. Have you heard of 99 Designs?
No?
It's like you throw up money on like $1,000 prize.
Yeah.
And graphic designers, they pitch, according to your brief, their designs, and you get hundreds, depending on how much you pay, you get hundreds of designs to choose from, and the winner ultimately will get that pot of money, and you'll get
wow.
the design. So when we wrote our brief, we had, I don't know, 300 logos to choose from. We knew the name.
Yeah.
I had the name, but
yeah.
it was between the bear and a beaver, and the beaver could have been our thing.
I don't know if that would have been a good idea.
Yeah, I don't know. It
In
could have been
hindsight.
Beaver Dam Cinema.
It's like anything. Once it starts to become an entity or a thing, it almost doesn't really matter
Totally.
what it's called.
Yeah.
Because it's just like you just associate it with, well, who you guys are, your body of work, all that kind of stuff, right? Like,
Right.
I mean, like, well, IFHT is a perfect example. Everyone knows what it is, and it gives you like a feeling for like what you guys do. But then, on its own, it's just 4 letters.
Well, I wouldn't say everybody knows what it is. And people who have been fans for 10 years still can't say the name. And some
Are
people
you
say,
from IHTF?
yes, IHTF. That's the number one.
Oh, what is it?
Now you're going to forget what it
that's
really
gonna
is.
start actually better.
IHTF is what they say incorrectly.
I usually get IHFT.
IHFT.
Huh.
Oh, yeah. I
should
don't
get
know.
that
I can't even.
What's that?
You should get that checked.
Yeah. The blood test came back. It's bad.
I have
That's-
freaking herpes. I don't know what that makes sense.
Go on.
I think that's it for the names.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna stick with Anthill Films. Very
Yeah.
good. So we're in the world of filmmaking. We're currently in production. Well, we're in production, I guess, pre-production. We're gonna make Whistler's 25th anniversary video.
Nice.
We'll put it out sometimes during Crankworks. And we know that you grew up in Whistler.
Yeah.
You worked jobs in Whistler. You
Yeah.
worked at Starbucks.
Mhm.
You worked at the, what's that Irish pub?
The Dublin Gate.
The Dublin Gate. Oops. We wanted to pick your brain because we had to do interviews. How the Whistler Bike Park came about is kind of fuzzy for us. We were what? 8 years old?
Yeah, 7 or 8.
2000.
99. 99.
What are your earliest? Because we're working on a timeline here, right?
Mm.
Like the Whistler Bike Park, they're gonna have like a billboard thing at the Fitzsimmons base,
Yeah.
showing the timeline and like the important people over the last 3 decades of like, whoever's important to the bike park. They don't really know the timeline yet, so real time we're gonna work this out. What are your earliest memories of the bike park?
I remember there was, I think, only 2 trails, or at least 2 trails that I remember being worth riding. Crack Addict and Dark Side of the Moon, I think, which went, like down towards Fitzsimmons Creek there, which was kind of just a loamer. But yeah, those were the 2 trails. They didn't have much. And I remember when they started charging, there was like more trails in the valley, like that you would just go and ride. So I remember thinking like it wasn't worth it. And I remember thinking at the time, like I'm not paying to bike. Biking's free. Like I remember having that like kind of, I don't know, like I didn't quite see what they were trying to do with it, to be honest, at the beginning. So yeah, those are my earliest memories, just being like, really? And then once they started developing good trails, obviously it made tons of sense, and I rode the park all the time. But the very, very first year of it was like, there wasn't much going on. Yeah. Just a couple trails.
So
which were already there actually, too. Like all they did was like just green light taking bikes on the left. But yeah, those trails like Crack Addict was already there, and you would like, I remember before the bike park existed, you pedal up and ride that stuff.
It was such a short trail too.
Yeah,
Crack Addict.
Everything was short back then.
Well, if you went up to ride Crack Addict, what do you ride after? Was it Dark Side of the Moon? And does that trail exist anymore?
Crack Addict?
No, Dark Side of the Moon.
No.
Crack Addict is now
Pulp Fiction
because it's no longer PC.
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess that.
So bleep that.
Makes sense with the times.
I'll double it.
Yeah.
We apologize to any Crack Addict.
Dark Side is, or was it just Dark Side? I can't remember. I think it was Dark Side of the Moon.
Heart of Darkness?
It wasn't called Heart of Darkness, I don't think.
Different.
Yeah.
Thing. Okay.
But some of that was there, though. Heart of Darkness, probably. I don't remember like exactly what you would, but it was just not like, it was just kind of whatever until they really got it going, got the machines in there and figured it out. So, which was a few years later, though.
Because we're still trying to figure out exactly what we're going to do. And it crossed my mind, like, maybe we could get a shot on every single, okay, if we don't do this, scratch it from the podcast, okay? But we could film one shot on every single trail and then kind of tell a timeline of like, literally like each trail that was built 1 to whatever it is now. 150? I don't know how many trails there are.
It's like 75.
75?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not as many as I thought, but really?
Yeah, that's what the official thing says.
Oh, wow.
Huh. Well, I guess some of them are pretty long.
Yeah, they're pretty long.
Do you have any clue as to what the chronology of trails was? So if like,
no, like I wouldn't be able to totally remember that.
what's your earliest memory of like a new trail opening? Was it A-Line?
Yeah, it would be A-Line. Dirt Merchant was pretty early too, although it was different. Definitely. The original Dirt Merchant was,
And that must have came after.
It didn't have the long traverse at the beginning and all that. Like it just kind of went down and
Well, right off Easy Does It.
Yeah.
It started with a bridge, with a wooden bridge.
Yeah. But I don't know. I'm trying to think what else was there. Hornet was early. Yeah.
All right, Dave's falling asleep here. He's Dave, name one mountain bike trail on Whistler Mountain Bike Park.
That you haven't already said?
Yeah.
Schlayer.
Nice.
Hey, that's a win for
Yeah,
Dave.
that would be an early one too. Yeah. Anyways,
Well,
I don't know. I can't remember.
Well, here's the thing. Like, we don't know how to tell this story. There's a lot to cover.
Yeah.
And we know the classic way would be to sit down with the important people and do interviews. But I don't know if the budget really dictates like doing 10 interviews, recording for an hour plus, and then cutting all that down.
Yeah.
Kind of daunting. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of a creative way to get around it. But at the very least, I know we're going to have to talk to people.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we have our kind of list of people. Who do you think is a couple people that we might be able to talk to that would have really good memory or like recollection of these early days at the Whistler Bike Park?
Tom Pro, obviously.
He's the ex-manager, general manager of the bike park?
Can't remember what his exact role was, but I mean, yeah, like he was so involved in the early building of that, which led to Gravity Logic and all that. I think and then Brian Finestone, I think he was the bike park manager, or at least maybe on the patrol side, but those are the two that would really come to mind who would know.
Yeah. We know those guys.
Kira's the head of safety. Can't remember her last name now, but I still see her all the time in Squamish. But she's been there for a long time. Yeah, those would be some of the. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
those
a
are the
lot.
ones that come. Yeah, there's probably like a lot, but those are the people that. Yeah.
Well, we also are thinking that we're going to have to include iconic productions that have taken place in the Whistler Bike Park.
Well, yeah, there's definitely been some of those.
A
Like
few.
the earliest one I was involved with was Ride to the Hills. That was the first movie I worked on, and
Oh, no way.
In Whistler.
yeah, there's clips from the bottom of the bike park in that film, which would have been shot in 2000.
I have one
Oh,
VHS tape
no
movie
way.
in here, and it's Ride to the Hills, so maybe we'll...
Yeah.
Shit, so my intro was wrong. Shit. Can we do it again? I said
Wait,
2004.
Oh, yeah. No, I worked on that and then Cranked 5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Darn. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Okay.
yeah, which is what eventually led to the collective starting.
Yeah.
Yeah, just anyways.
What's the movie where we have multiple riders, like Tyler Moreland, maybe
Rome.
Steve Smith? That's
Yeah.
Rome. Okay.
Yeah.
Jason's he's the
I've
big fanboy.
I've
Historian.
probably watched that segment like 1,000 times. Legitimately.
And the song is
The song,
iconic.
Yeah.
Like the music from those films is just like unbelievable. Like
Yeah, the
we
music
were
choices were
on
sick.
Kazaa the next day after the premiere, downloading as much as we could, and to find the music from those films was not easy.
Oh man, I remember that song coming together too. Is like, because we had shot that thing to the edit. Like,
Of course, yeah.
There wasn't like much. I mean, there was editing to do, but not much. Like it was just like lay the shots down in the order that we shot them, basically. And then we had that song, and it was just like so perfect, and it was just coming back down to the wire, and we had like one day to go, and we had no backup option. We were totally gonna be fucked. And I remember going to Darren's house, and he just made like a huge sign on his front door, just like, we got the song. And I just remember it was just like one of those awesome moments where you're just thinking like, there's no backup plan. What are we going to do? And, but yeah, that song, I mean, it just seemed to nail the vibe of that segment.
Now, what was the song?
Boy Sets Fire.
Rookie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at when you type in Rome song, the first link that comes up is Mountain Bike Reviews Forum, May 28th, 2006.
Oh,
This
yeah.
link has got so much traffic. People still want to know the track list.
It's crazy.
So many iconic songs. I actually wanted to ask, like, what goes into getting the music and getting the rights? Like, not only the like back and forth with the label, but the money too. What goes
Yeah.
into it?
Well, I mean, I have to give like tons of credit to Darren, who, I mean, he is the one that really leads the charge on finding the music. And I don't know how he does it, honestly. Like, he's always just finding good songs, and he always show us stuff, and we're like, yeah, that seems already perfect. Like, but when we work with the music coordinator, and that's really what obviously helps us like license the music. So, I mean, the two of them will like work really closely together to like find a song, make sure it's realistic, do some like sniffing around to see if we can actually get it. But a lot of it comes down to relationships in the music industry. Like, that's really how it's done. It's a very loose industry. It's all about like relationships and people just basically being stoked on the project. and hopefully not having too many people involved in the license. You know, some like remixes or collabs where if there's like 10 people that own the publishing rights to a song, then it's probably not gonna happen. If like 10 people need to sign off on it. So, but yeah, I don't know. It's process, and then it's also a collaboration. Like the rest of us will also like be constantly suggesting songs. You know, talk to the writers, see what they're feeling. So.
Do you recall what the most you've ever paid for a song was?
No, I don't off the top of my head like what it would be. Probably in the 10 grand range.
That's kind of what I thought, maybe. And that's
Yeah.
a lot. Like,
Yeah.
how do you justify that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you just have to budget for it ahead of time. Like we just always try to make our music budget be as high as possible. But I mean, we've had decent music budgets, but they're not as big as like other films that I've heard about in like skiing or snowboarding or surfing, where it's like hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like, I mean, some of those, like, I mean, Art of Flight had a huge music budget. I remember like the White Album at the time, like Shaun White film, like had one of the biggest ones I'd ever heard of, like just hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. So can get up there.
It's just like the music, though. I just can't overstate how iconic it was. Like I'm looking at the track list here. RJD2. I probably wouldn't have discovered RJD2 if it wasn't for your films.
Yeah.
Let me down. Such great music.
That was the Claw segment. I think it's like shot
Since
here.
we last spoke.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Here and on the island.
Yeah, there's, I mean,
Latchkey Kid. There's a real low key banger. Coming Home Soon.
yeah, who came out of Slackstring, and Slackstring had a lot of music and the collective stuff, and that was Jamie Hussein, who was my partner in all the collective films. He knew those guys from when he went to school down in UC Santa Barbara. Like those guys all just became friends in college or whatever. So
I see.
Yeah.
Interesting, because there is a kind of a connection there with the sound of Latchkey Kid and Slackstring.
Yeah.
Slackstring too. Great songs there. Like they still come up on my iTunes. Like I haven't updated my phone music in 20 years and it's still.
There's some. I mean, they're great. I can't remember why they couldn't totally keep it together. But then Latchkey Kid went out on his own, and pretty sure he's still making music. But what movie was it? I think it was Seasons at the world premiere in Whistler. That was when we were at the conference center, and Latchkey Kid was there, and like we just kind of had the one spotlight on him, and he was like playing tunes as everyone was coming in, and like that's what kicked off the premiere. That was pretty.
That's really
cool vibe. And then Mitch Scott got on the microphone, and he's obviously awesome on the mic, and brought the crowd up, and then we got into the movie. It was a pretty cool night.
Oh wow.
Another iconic song here. That's funny. My mom just texted me, and I was gonna say this is one of my mom's favorite songs, and it's from your film.
Yeah.
Thievery Corporation. Simple History. Sorry, pardon my French.
Zoom tight.
Yeah.
I saw Thievery Corporation that came to town recently, and I just think about your movies.
Yeah, that's another one that Jamie really loved. Thievery Corporation was all over that. I was always listening to that and was like, man, we got to get that in the film. And
it was actually the what was the Whistler track called again?
What Rookie?
Rookie. It was that song and that segment that inspired me as a young kid in the Whistler Bike Park to, for the first time, put my iPod in my pocket and listen to music underneath my full face and like feel like I was in that segment.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's funny how you can get that feeling, but you listen to tunes when you ride and you're like,
you feel like you're in the movie.
Yeah, basically.
But also pretty dangerous in the bike park, right? Because you can't hear people.
Yeah,
Where do you stand?
Pretty good. Oh, I wouldn't be listening to tunes in the bike park for that reason, because I don't know. A lot of people around.
A lot of merges.
Busy.
A
lot of merging.
A lot of murders.
No.
A lot of murders in that bike park.
happened. Like, the idea for that segment actually came out of like that happening legit. Like I remember it was Adam Billinghurst, and he was higher up on the mountain, and I saw him on a trail, and then I went and just rode and was just ripping to the bottom, and then like it was a complete coincidence that like 5 minutes later he was coming off one trail, I was coming off another, and we just like merged in behind each other, and we were just like yelling and screaming, and then like following each other to the bottom. And then it was just kind of in that moment where it's like, man, that's so cool how the trails like just merge in and out. And it's like, it's a pretty, I mean, yeah, more riding areas maybe have that now, like where there's more and more trails in a condensed area, but that's a super unique thing for a bike park that you could actually.
And you had like the
that could
biker
happen.
cross at the bottom. It was at the time it was like a serious jump track. It wasn't like family cross is now.
Yeah.
You had them all four on there just charging through that. I think
Plus,
that's pretty unique.
They're all in like TLD and like clown suits. Like they all look fast as hell.
Yeah.
Like everything about that was just awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. That was pretty
it's
fun.
the clown pajamas.
Yeah.
I'm faster than you.
Yeah. We were just like ripping down the road, filming it from the truck too. I'm sure it was pretty loose. People were all over the place.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask. Like that's because you're filming in the bike park. You had cable cams too going, right?
Yeah. We had a lot of cables in there.
That must have been like the golden days of filming in the Whistler Bike Park. Because now with Vail, it's a little more locked down, more insurance, more accidents since then. It's harder to get things done.
Yeah, it is definitely. Yeah, it was easier back then. I mean, there was still always rules and patrol and safety, but I mean, we would have our pass. I don't know if they do that anymore, but we'd have our pass to drive on the mountain and the key to the gate, so we could just drive up and just do whatever. I mean, I remember that one. It took I think it was like almost 30 days of filming to put that together. Like,
wow.
Just lots of little short days. But still, but yeah, we could just drive up the mountain anytime we wanted and film and just hang.
Amazing.
Like, it was pretty awesome.
Like Jason and I, we in our last little like filming session, we're just filming each other riding basically. We have one of those moments where we converge and then, we say, hey, it's just like Rome. We're still referencing it like literally to this day.
Yeah. But it's definitely gotten like busier and more challenging. I'm sure it's just more crews too. There wasn't really, they didn't even have protocols because they were like, no one's filming the bike park.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of things were easier back then.
So I think you're pretty famous for going up in the cable cam, in the harness.
Yeah.
I mean, was there someone who did that before you in the bike world? I mean, I feel like it was always you up there, right?
I don't know if I was the first or not. I mean, I know that around the same time, like Axel was doing some stuff with the early New World movies. Brad McGregor was doing some stuff too. I actually don't know though, like if they were doing that before or after what was going on around then. The first ones I ever did was in 2002 for Cranked 5.
So tell us about that setup.
That was like a hang gliding harness that I got from a buddy. And man, maybe it was even the Real Water guys were doing some stuff back then where they would have like a platform that they were on. And like one guy would be like braking and the other guy was like, they used like a portaledge for climbing. But yeah, I don't know, just the hang gliding harness. I don't know, it just seemed like you need to be facing down and holding the camera, obviously. So, I would just climb trees, set it up, and slide down.
And then just put total faith in your buddies that they're going to slow you down.
Well, I would usually set them up that like mellow enough and that there was enough slack that like when all that weight is on the cable, it kind of forms like a V. So as you're getting closer to the other tree, you do slow down naturally. But I mean, the earliest renditions were like really short. Like the very first ones you would see were probably of the Claw and Tyler Claassen in Williams Lake for Cranked 5. That was the first time. And I had like borrowed some spikes from like a local dude there whose dad worked for BC Hydro. And we were like figuring it out on the shoot, like how to make this work. So,
Did anything go wrong ever?
Yes. It was later though. It wasn't until Rome. It was also with the Claw, coincidentally, and we were shooting in Squamish, and I just was just trying to get like a longer shot, and take after take was just getting closer to the tree at the bottom, and then I just let out a little. That one did have a break, and I let out a little too much rope, and I just like smoked the tree at the bottom with my leg, and I thought I broke my femur, but I just had like Like if you ever get like a super gnarly Charlie horse, takes like a few weeks to recover. But I was like the worst thing that happened to me. I mean, I've dropped cameras, and I mean the worst crash was filming with the remote cable. We were filming in the Whistler Bike Park on the Moon Booter, and it was for Return to Earth, all the kids segment. And I was just trying to get again a longer shot and like just getting too close to the tree at the end and just pushing it. And then eventually, like, if you slam on the brakes too hard, you'll skid. And once you start skidding on the cable, you just slide and you can't stop. Anyways, the Movi and the rad camera hit the tree and everything went flying and exploded on the ground.
Oh,
Yeah. So, yeah.
just toast, like salvageable.
I don't remember what we could salvage.
Oh my god,
It was pretty bad. I think the camera was maybe fine-ish, but we had to send everything back and do an insurance claim. It was legit.
We've sent our red just last week because I shorted the SDI output on it.
Yeah.
It's been stuck in the mail. We don't really know where it is. It says it's in a warehouse in Kentucky,
Louisville.
Oh, nice.
a long way away from red repair in California.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if we're ever getting that red back.
Yeah. It's tough with gear. I mean, it's like, that's one thing I think a lot of people don't totally realize, that like for all of us, you guys, us, everyone else who's filming, like we're all like on a fairly like thin margin of like making this all work. And like when gear goes down and you're busy, like it's not just like we can all just snap our fingers and be like, oh, just
Get a new one.
Even if, I mean, we've definitely had to do insurance claims for equipment in the past. And, yeah.
And that affects your rate next time. Like that, you got to check the boxes. Says, have you ever made a claim before?
Yeah. Yeah. We've definitely made multiple, but
yeah, man.
happens, but gear gets wrecked, right?
We've dropped the camera once, the red. It landed backwards on the battery. The battery kind of exploded a little bit, but the camera was totally fine. Since then, we haven't had any accidents. I'll just knock on wood.
Oh yeah.
Yep. But that's good to hear that you never fell off the cable cam in the harness, the body harness.
No. It's one of those things you gotta, I don't know, obviously take it seriously when I'm up there.
Yeah, it's one of those things that looks inherently so dangerous, but you have a knowledge enough of what's happening in the process that it's probably fairly safe.
Yeah.
It's like watching rock climbing. You're like, they're going to die.
Yeah, but like they really shouldn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, the next sickest thing besides the body cam, cable cam, is probably filming in the helicopter. This is a little step up.
Yeah.
Well, we have no experience filming out of a helicopter. Tell us a little bit about what that's like.
Well, it's pretty intense. Just partially because of the cost involved, and like everyone's so aware that like every single minute like is just so expensive, and then just the noise and all the logistics around it can just like add like a whole other level of stress to it. So I mean, it's changed. Like back in the day, like it was like just open the door and we had like a little gyro stabilizer handheld thing.
I always wanted to feel what that was like.
Yeah. I wonder. I don't think we have that stuff anymore.
It was a little thing you put on the bottom tripod on the mount of the camera, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And it kind of like when you hold a wheel by the axle and you spin the wheel?
Kind of like it's just buzzing, and then if you like twitch it too hard, like it couldn't handle like it would like jerk if you twitched it too hard. But yeah, I mean it would just be like vibrating kind of, and it just is the center of gravity. So it definitely worked. Yeah.
More or less just hand holding, pointing that with a long lens at things.
Yeah. And then, I mean, as always, you need a good pilot. Like that's the thing, like even with using things like the Cineflex and the shot over and stuff like that, like it still matters who's flying, because they're the ones that got to get you in the right position, and that's everything. So, but back then you need to have like really like good aggressive pilots who want to fly low and close. Otherwise, it's not going to work. So, like, we had a killer pilot in New Zealand for Follow Me with Stevie and G. There's a lot of really good footage that came out of that. And, like, that pilot was this dude named Alfie. And he was just, like, the guy in New Zealand, apparently. But But yeah, in the clip, you can see grass like getting sucked into the chopper. Like we were that close. So
Jesus.
Is that like the
Yeah.
best day on set when you get to go to the chopper and work the Cineflex? Or are you just like, a kid in a candy store?
yeah, pretty much. Like there's nothing like really that's that much more fun than that. And we got to do that a lot in Chile for any time. Like we had a shot over down there for the whole trip, and that was definitely like a big investment in heli time because of what like Brage and Cade and Brett wanted to do. Like it was all about like trying to just do these like massive big mountain lines, and it was all at high altitude. So heli was really the only way to capture all of it. Like the lines are so big you couldn't even possibly film it with a drone top to bottom. Like there's no way. Like some of them were about, well, I think the biggest one was over 5,000 feet vertical. So
Oh my God.
yeah, there was a line there that the take is 6 minutes long.
I was gonna say that's a oneer, right? Like
Yeah,
at least one per day. Like you're not hiking that again.
no, it was even with the helis, it was like usually a one and done.
Yeah.
And they were like not wanting to really, once they did it, they were pretty happy to survive. So,
Right.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see
And
this
like
movie.
you
Yeah,
never get the it's like the GoPro effect, right? You're watching the
Yeah.
people POV go down the scree slopes or whatever. You could see the huge boulders blasting by them just
Yeah.
from gravity, but you still can't tell. You're
Yeah.
frustrated by that? Like you can't
Yeah.
really convey how
Yeah.
gnarly it is?
Yeah, totally. It is super frustrating in a way. And it's like, I think it's what keeps us coming back for more, to be honest, because you like want to capture what you're seeing in real life so badly, and you want to do like a good job of that. And then like even a trip like that, like I'm really happy with the footage we got, but you still are left with this feeling where you're just like, oh, there's got to be a better way to capture that and make it look like how it looks in real life.
Yeah.
That's, I think, one of the hardest things. And steepness is, you guys know too, like steepness is hard to show.
Yeah.
Totally.
And then relative steepness too, because it's like, the stuff that they're doing, like say in Chile, is super steep for biking, but not for skiing or snowboarding. Like it's so when you're used to seeing like somebody ride like a very vertical face on skis, I don't know, it just looks steeper.
Yeah. Perception's a weird thing like that.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I don't know. I feel like that's just what always is like something that can keep you coming back for more. It's just trying to do better. And I feel like every time we make a movie, you never like finish it and you're like, oh my God, we nailed it. It's like you're always like, yeah, okay, cool. Like you're proud of the work that everyone did, but you also immediately are thinking like, oh man, like we just, before I got here, we just had a meeting, like me, CJ, and Darren, and like we were just talking about all the things that we already want to improve, and we're like, no, we're still like a month away from finishing this.
Sure,
Like,
yeah. Well, what about
Yeah.
the riders? You have to deal with the riders' feedback besides your own internal feedback.
Yeah.
Does that ever become an issue where the riders kind of being a bit precious with how they want to be portrayed in the film, or are they
We
usually
And we want
stoked?
names.
Yeah, we want names. we want,
They're usually
Films.
pretty stoked. Like,
Oh, nice.
that's
yeah.
good.
Yeah, I haven't. I mean, I don't think they ever really. It's such a collaboration when we're working. Like, I've never really had anyone be like, "I'm not happy with that." Like, it's because everyone's working together, and the end result is like what we all created as a group, right? So, but for sure, there's like, I'd say with some of the riders that you have a longer relationship with, you're always talking about like ways to do better than what we've done in the past.
Okay, well, maybe you
Right.
haven't dealt with that in post, but what about during production? People too hungover, they didn't sleep, they party,
Need
to
Uh,
one
deal with that?
more, one more.
We want names.
Names. Yeah, right. I'm not gonna do that.
We'll bleep it out.
No, that has gotten. It's funny. It's gotten a little more professional over the years.
Yeah,
With
see
like
that.
even the young riders and all that, and I think they know when they're on a production that they're like, okay, it's like time to get your shit together. And like, I mean, yeah, sure. Sometimes people are like hungover or whatever, that happens, but not like, I mean, back in like the day, like I remember trying to find like Steve Romanek like because he was partying the night before, and like found him on the kitchen floor. He had slept for 2 hours, and then like an hour later, he's hitting what is it, the Gillard Road Gap?
Gillard Road Gap, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
God.
doing it like 7:30 in the morning on 2 hours sleep. Probably still drunk from the night before, like that type of stuff.
Well, that's the fuel to do it.
That's just like Jesus. I
Liquid
mean,
courage.
yeah, you don't see that maybe as much anymore. Maybe Braga and Cade a little bit. They're pretty loose. Yeah.
I hope Steve Romanek's listening, and if you are, please visit the pod. We want to feed off of you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, amazing, man. Well, I
Yeah,
mean, I feel like
yeah.
people do take it a lot more professionally now. I mean, when you're working with someone like yourself, you have, a list of movies behind you, so they know what they're, who they're working with. They can't disappoint you
Yeah.
or your team.
Well, and it's always like there's a lot of talk and collaboration leading up to the shoot too. So like by the time we actually get somewhere, we have this like common goal that we're all like excited about and focused on. So I think that comes out of it too. So, but yeah, it's crazy. Like obviously as we've gotten older and older, like, and then now you have riders that are coming up that are so good, so young, like we've done some kids segments obviously, but even for this one, like filming with like Patricia Drew and like she's 16, maybe she's 17 now, but when we're filming, and you're like, man, you're in grade 11. Like you're just like, I mean, when I was that old, like probably couldn't even wrap my head around like being part of a film production. A lot of money's being invested and sponsor obligations and audience to think about. And yeah, bit of a trip.
All right, last Graham to explain. You're dealing with a lot of different moving parts, people, money, budgets.
All right.
So much. What a pile of shit, huh? How do you deal with the stress?
Oh, yeah, that one. Yeah, well, that was a little heart attack.
So we got you
a couple
here
years
in
ago.
A little heart attack?
this is
so.
you in the hospital bed. You're in the what's it called? The schmuck? Schmuck?
I guess so.
Smock?
I don't know
Smock?
what those things
Schmuck.
are called.
Schmuck.
Probably, yeah.
Schmuck.
That's the Jewish one.
You're drinking a LaCroix. You got a nice
Yeah, I
lunch.
guess so. Yeah.
But you don't seem too happy.
That chicken sashimi? Or?
Yeah,
Hospital grade?
This is the other angle of the chicken sashimi. No, this was, I had some kind of viral infection.
Oh.
They couldn't quite, basically when you have a heart attack or some sort of like medical event like that, like they just need to start ruling things out. So they did every test on me from like ultrasounds to angiogram where they put like a camera in your arm and it goes up into your heart. And they like look at your heart from the inside and they release like a dye and take photos to see. That's how they basically see if people's arteries are clogged and all that.
And you were thinking, oh, how can I use this camera
Yeah.
for a sick shot?
Yeah, I was like, wow, so
Doesn't look
lenses
as-
on that. Yeah,
Doesn't
like,
look as steep as I thought it was in there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they no. Anyways, all that MRIs, everything, and they were pretty stumped because they were like, "Huh, you have no family history and you're super healthy. Like, why? What happened?" And I had like what's called a myopericarditis, which is like inflammation of like your main heart muscle, and then there's like a sac that your heart sits in that also gets inflamed or can get inflamed. And when they start like, obviously as your heart beats and if everything's inflamed, it's just getting like more constricted. And so, it all like boiled over one day. And then, but once they ruled everything out, the doctors were like, there's no reason, like we do not know why this happened to you. So it can happen when you have a viral infection, some sort of thing. It was happening to people actually, like not exactly that, but the myopericarditis when people like that had a bad reaction to the vaccine. Same thing, but mine was pre-vaccine for the anti-vaxxers out there. And I actually, coincidentally, was supposed to get vaccinated that day.
Oh.
Which was weird. So like
weird timing.
the night before I was
So
on
just
a
the
ride.
suggestion of it will give it to you.
Yeah, like
the
that's the thing.
idea.
Like you don't even have to get it.
Yeah.
If you just like sign up for it, you can have a heart attack.
Oh,
Bill,
yeah.
Bill Gates is
That
on you.
dangerous. Yeah. But then no, well the funny thing is when they released me from the hospital 3 days later, that was right in the thick of like the first vaccine. They were like, you should get it as soon as possible. So I drove straight from the hospital in Vancouver up to Whistler, got vaccinated. And then a couple months later, they were like, yeah, we actually wouldn't recommend that now because now that we've learned that but it was also, everyone was learning as they were going back then. But anyways, but that happened. And then 3 months I had to do like absolutely zero activity, just like super chill, which was probably the hardest thing because you start slowly feeling better. And then it was definitely a huge confidence like knock for me for the next like year. It was until my like 1 year checkup where they were like, you're totally fine, there's nothing wrong with you, that I was like actually started mentally coming out of it a bit. And then now I feel great.
Great. Wow.
Yeah,
Glad you feel good.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, so no, I feel like that's just 100% behind me. But it's crazy to go through like health things like that when you're I don't know. I think for all of us that do like a lot of sports, like we have a huge benefit from like learning what our limits are, and when you're like hurt, even honestly, even like as dumb as it sounds, like even like having super bad hangovers and shit where you feel like you're absolutely gonna die, like you learn eventually, you're like, what does it feel like to truly feel like fucked up? So like the reason I went to the hospital that day was like my chest was like burning all over, and it was like nothing I'd ever felt before, and it went up into my jaw and it felt all tense, and I was like, but I still like like my wife didn't really think it was that serious, and she was like, just go get yourself checked out. And so I drove myself to the hospital. Anyways, that's that.
I'm still thinking there's a sashimi connection there for sure.
No, I didn't touch
this
the
is
sashimi.
weird. There's a lot of coincidence happening here in this
Diarrhea?
podcast, and
Yeah, well,
I wouldn't rule it out. Did you tell the docs about it?
conspiracy theory about this.
Well, I did have chicken sashimi 6 years ago. Well, actually, I just avoided.
I looked at it.
I threw it away.
Yeah, exactly.
Were the waiters offended that you didn't eat it?
No, because the other dudes who ordered it, he ate it. So
Oh.
it was gone by the time they came back.
Well, the reason I brought it up is because we might be doing a Japan trip in like September.
Well, I dare you to try the chicken sashimi.
Maybe on the way out, like right before the plane.
Well,
way
I
out
mean,
of
you want a
life.
viral clip, like
That's viral.
yeah, do it.
Certainly viral.
Yeah,
Might be bacterial too.
yeah, definitely.
That went great.
All right. Well, shall we play 2 games?
You can play 2 games.
All right. First game. We want to. Jason, you're the
Yeah.
kind of the master of this. Why don't you do it?
Oh God. Okay.
I'm sorry.
So do you know what blind ranking is? Have you heard of blind ranking?
No.
Okay, cool. So basically, we have 5 iconic Anthill movie segments, Anthill Collective movie segments,
Okay.
Termite Mound.
and
movies.
we
Yeah.
want you to rank them in order of best to worst in 1 to 5
Okay.
situation. You aren't going to know the next one coming, so that's the blind portion of it.
Ah.
Yeah.
So okay, so the segment comes up. I'm gonna rank
Mm-hmm.
whether it's number 1 or number 5.
Yeah, 1 to 5.
Oh yeah. Okay. On like my scale, 1 being this is the best one.
Yes.
Yes.
Got it.
And this will be posted on Pink Bike's front page tomorrow.
Yeah.
And we'll send it to all the riders involved.
See, for anyone who cares. Okay. Yeah. Sounds good.
Okay, so this is blind ranking iconic bike film movie segments. The person who makes bike films. Number 1, the Whistler Bike Park segment from Seasons.
Damn. Okay. Well, I mean, the way you guys are talking about it makes me feel like I need to put it
Seasons,
high.
not Rome, not
Oh,
Rome.
sorry.
Feeding off each other.
Oh, that. Yes. 4.
Good strategy, leaving some room.
Living room. Yeah.
Number 2, the Geordie's Yard segment from Rome.
Oh, yeah. Well, iconic. I mean, I have to go with like what the audience is gonna know, and that movie being. I'm gonna put that at 2.
I watched
Ooh.
it today. The top comment was, "This is the reason why I started mountain biking."
Ah,
That's pretty cool.
wow. That's pretty cool comment. Yeah, that's tough one. Obviously, with Jordy no longer being here, you're like, oh well, of course it's like also number one. But then,
Well, let's think about on a,
anything Stevie and Jordy are probably going to tie for first. But
let's think about on
ties. Yeah.
Well, funny. Yeah. Next segment would be the Stevie Smith season segment.
Yeah.
Which has got to be up there.
That's probably going to be number one. Because, well, just, I don't know. There's a lot of reasons, I guess. I mean, the emotional connection to it. But, I mean, that's one that I personally have had so many people say things about. So, because you don't know what sits in everyone's mind and heart out there. But that's one where people are like still come up quite a bit and be like, that segment, like, yeah. And I felt like we took quite a belief in Stevie at that time to even make that segment, because he wasn't known at all. There was no sponsorship, influence, or anything that caused us to put him in the movie, other than I'd ridden with him in the park a bunch, and Kenny Smith introduced me to him. Was like, oh, you got to meet this kid from the island. Like, he shreds so hard, and he'll drink all of us under the table, and he's only 16 years old. And we're like, okay. And so, yeah, we really wanted to put him in the movie because we're like, man, this kid's going places. And yeah, I'm proud of the fact that we did that, because we didn't know what would happen, and now it is iconic, I guess. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember watching that as it came out, and he was like on a Cove bike wearing like a Volcom hoodie or something.
Yeah,
Just like,
yeah, exactly.
You know, as a kid, you know the big names, and I was like, oh, who's this? And then you watch him ride, and you're like, oh my God.
I remember
Yeah.
the shots in
Insane.
the season's recut contest. I remember the slow-mo shots of the puddle around the berm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. I would have gotten used a bunch.
Yep.
Okay, next segment, the Dirt Blizzard from Unreal.
Yeah, that one I'll put. I mean, that one is the one I'm pretty like proud of in the Whistler Bike Park, because you're really thinking like, man, we've done a bunch of segments there. How are we gonna come up with a different view there? But I would put that at 5. It's funny, that one not everyone knows it. I guess people that have seen the movie, but we did post that on YouTube as well, like as like a free segment, and did okay, but no, I actually thought it would do a little bit better. But
It's got about 250,000 views. Third most popular on your YouTube channel, perhaps.
oh, all right,
Pretty good. Quarter
all
mil.
right, okay, okay, it's pretty good.
Okay, well then
Curious.
finally, the last segment, which is third place, would be Seminux One Shot.
I knew that was coming.
Let's go, Brandon.
Yeah,
That's pretty good. That worked out, I'd
That-
say.
That's a good
yeah,
ranking.
that's not bad. Yeah, I figured. I kind of knew that one was coming eventually. I was like, wow, the one shot's going to be in there.
Of course.
But yeah, that's pretty good.
Are you happy with it?
I'm actually, I'm pretty.
Jordy
happy
and
with
Stevie
that.
can tie for one.
Yeah,
Those
yeah,
are both.
yeah. We can make that a tie, then we're good.
Yeah.
Is there one that would be 0 on that list? The ultimate winner that we missed, or is this good?
No, that's a
happy.
pretty good. You know, I don't know. Another one would be the Aptos segment from Strength in Numbers.
Oh, the final,
Yeah,
the post office,
post office one.
right before they got torn down. Is that about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was. We thought it was getting torn down like a month later, and then it ended up being like maybe closer to a year. But I really like that segment. The nostalgia with it, and those guys growing up there. It came together. That "Send Me a Postcard" song like really hit. I don't know. That's another one that
Sent you a postcard? A little on the nose, if you ask me.
a little too on the nose. Really?
Postcard, post
Post office.
postcard.
See the connection? Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
It's just me,
Everyone's
though.
a
That's just
critic.
me.
Everyone's a critic.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, well, that's
Cue
game
the
number 1.
soundboard.
Yeah.
Game number 1. Game
Okay.
number 2.
Game number 2.
This or that.
I'll let a legendary Canadian celebrity explain the rules.
It's that time again, folks. Time to play This or That, the game where you choose between 2 radically different options. Either this or that. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Do you know who the celebrity was?
No.
Nardwar. Ding, 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 ding. Nardwar.
Nardwar?
Nardwuar. You nailed it.
Okay.
You win the game.
This or that. Let's go.
My pop culture knowledge is terrible.
No.
Anyway,
Don't worry. There won't be any
just
pop
so you
culture
know.
in this. Okay. Question 1. Cable cams or drones?
I have to pick one.
Yeah.
Drones.
Pee a marble or poop a baseball?
Marble or baseball? God. Poop a baseball?
Oh, man.
That's the right answer.
Yeah, I think it is based on, what is it, like a kidney stone? Pat, they're supposed to be small and the most painful thing in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But pooping a baseball seems
And they're smaller than a marble, too.
Yeah. Okay. Question 3.
gross.
8mm film or 16mm film?
16.
Loam or POW?
This is a mountain biking podcast, but wow.
They always say pow.
They always go back to POW.
Well, it's more rare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Like, it's harder to get.
You could go on those mountains up there
So
and find
that's
loam
why.
right now.
That's the only
Only one
like-
person's ever chose loam, I think. I don't remember who that
And there are
was.
different seasons. You know the beauty of choosing between those? You actually don't have to decide.
That's true. They don't
You
exist
can
in the
ride
same.
POW in the winter and loam in the summer.
It's
and
true.
Have a very happy life.
Now, that sounds like a good movie segment.
Loam or POW? Loam and POW.
Loam or pow.
Whoa.
Or a whole movie, maybe. We'll
Oh.
talk later.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
We'll
Sounds
trademark
good.
it.
Sounds good.
Overexposed or out of focus?
God.
Overexposed.
Sunrise or sunset?
Sunrise.
Rock or rap?
Rock or rap?
Yeah.
Oh. Oh, man.
He
I was
really doesn't
thinking-
know pop culture.
No, seriously. I was like, what are those? Different types of music?
Yeah, they are.
Oh, like a rock or
No.
like a burrito?
No, yeah, it totally threw me off because I was like, you're thinking about sunrises and sunsets and rock. I was like, thinking like a rock stone.
Rock, paper, or scissors?
So rock or rap?
Yeah.
Probably more often rock.
Okay. Wide angle or long lens?
Man, these are all like long lens. All tough.
Yeah, that's the game.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Shooting in the desert or shooting in the forest?
Desert.
Slow-mo or regmo?
Reg.
That's slow motion or regular motion.
Yes.
For those that
Don't
Yeah.
mow.
yeah.
If you
And I
now
don't
you-
mow any better.
And if now you mow, now you mow. If you, well, I
Are you messing up the Biggie quote?
Yeah. What? Sorry, I don't know.
And if you don't mow.
Say it, David.
And if you don't mow, now you mow.
Thank you.
End
And don't finish
end
it.
of sentence,
Don't
yeah.
finish. Question 11. No arms or no legs?
No legs.
Fire ants or carpenter ants?
Carpenter.
Teeth for nipples or nipples for teeth?
God. Teeth or nipples? That's really fucked up.
Yeah. Just wait.
It's either really poor
I don't
chewing.
know. I'm actually confused by the question. I can't even. I
Well,
guess
nipples for teeth. Yeah, really poor
Nipples,
chewing.
bad
you got,
chewing, or
yeah, teeth for nipples.
Or you
like-
got little teeth on your nips.
yeah,
so
I'd probably have the teeth.
Yeah.
on the
Yeah,
nips,
that's a
'cause-
pretty easy
yeah,
one.
holes in your
That
shirt.
is an easy one.
That's
'cause
fine.
That would be very.
Oh, imagine marathons. It would be terrible. Okay, film or digital?
Digital.
Wait, but Jason, your teeth, you don't have feeling in your teeth. So, you know, if you're chafing. Well,
That-
anyways,
oh,
sorry.
That's true.
I'm sorry. Go ahead with the game.
Just
Yeah.
don't run a marathon if you have teeth for nipples.
Well, we haven't proven that.
Yeah.
Phantom camera or Star Wars: The Phantom Menace?
Phantom camera.
Nice.
Yes.
Hank Hill or Jonah Hill?
Because of Anthill.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
get it,
yeah.
I
A
get
couple
it.
of hills. Probably Jonah Hill. Much more.
Bobby.
Yeah.
Shooting fast downhill or big tricks?
Shooting fast downhill or big tricks.
Don't worry, you're only gonna offend half
I know.
of
I
the
know.
people
I'm
you
like,
work
who's
with.
even
It's
really
fine, it's
caring
fine.
what I say here? Yeah.
What?
It's like I
That's
don't know.
someone.
Shooting fast downhill.
Bad talent or bad light?
Bad light.
Coffee or beer?
Beer.
Get ready for this one. Dick-sized nipples or nipple-sized dick?
Dick-sized
You
nipples.
can't give two nipples.
Yeah.
I just did.
You went like this too. That's
I guess
hilarious.
the
4
dick-sized
fingers.
nipple. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not going to be one.
Chamois or no chamois?
Chamois.
Cry every time you poop or poop every time you cry?
Oh my God. Poop every time I cry.
And finally, careful with this one. Cranked or neural disorder?
Well, this is one of those ones where he's actually going to offend someone. How is he possibly going to answer this?
Well,
but go ahead.
one is going to get more offended than the other. Cranked.
Nice.
All right.
That was this or that.
There's no way they listen that far, anyways.
Teeth for chamois or chamois for teeth? All right, there were some good ones there.
Oh my God.
8 millimeter or
Yeah,
16
those
mil?
are great.
You went 16 millimeter right away.
Never shot 8 mil.
Okay.
No, really?
Really?
Oh, I wasn't
No.
thought for sure.
What about
No.
like Super 8? Is that the same thing?
Yeah, kind of, basically.
Okay.
Like in a way, Super 16 is still, because I think if I remember correctly, it's the two perforations and then also the aspect ratio. But
I'm thinking of like the before it was VHS or VHS-C tapes on the camcorder. There was like another. I thought there was something between 8 millimeter film and like 8. What is it? It's like
actually, yeah, I can't remember now.
8.
Like what super
High
'cause
8?
we never,
Is that?
Yeah.
Is that the same thing as 8 millimeter?
That'd be
I
tape,
don't know.
think.
Yeah,
You
tape,
really
something.
like it's. We never really. The thing is, like, a 16 was used obviously up until whenever it would have been. 08. But Super 8 and like high 8, Super 8, all that was out of date in like the 60s or 70s.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was like home camera stuff. And then everyone only used it for like an effect. But I don't know anyone. I don't think anyone ever made a movie. Maybe, but like even the very first Warren Millers or like Endless Summer 1 would have probably been 16 mil.
Interesting.
I would think.
Yeah.
They would be. They wouldn't have been. I don't know if anyone's ever made like a Super 8.
Isn't there a movie called Super 8?
Yes.
Was it shot on Super 8?
No.
Damn
It's
it.
about a bunch of kids that would go around and shoot home movies, and then there's a alien or something.
Yeah, like a legitimately shot action sports film on anything like other than 16. I don't know. I would guess no.
Maybe
Maybe
a
there's
little portion.
someone in the comments can
Just roast
educate us.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
All right, we went 1 hour and 50. That's a long pod, but when you got Darcy in the house, what are you gonna do? I know there's gonna be some diehard fans of your films who appreciate this one. So
Yeah, definitely.
thank you for visiting us.
Yeah, thanks for having me on here. It was great chatting to you guys.
This is your first
appreciate
in-person
it.
pod, right?
Yeah, first one. Glad I
Yeah.
could make the top 100 of your list.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Hey,
just squeezed in there.
oh yeah, right in the medium zone.
Nice.
Now, how do the Swiss say Wittenberg?
Oh, they would say Wittenburg.
I figured it would be something like that.
Yeah.
Love that beer.
Yeah. So.
All right,
nice.
well, yeah,
on.
that's it. That's a pod. We got to get the hell out of here and go see the Canucks beat the Edmonton Oilers. Knock on wood. Do I knock on wood for that?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I think so.
that's it. Thank you.
Sweet.
Thanks for listening. To the chudders out there, please remember to subscribe, leave us a review on Apple, drop us a comment, give us some love. It means a lot. And visit mahalomydude.com and get yourself a big bone t-shirt if you are an XL boy like Jason Lucas himself.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're dying to know something, you want to speak to us, ask us a question, looking for advice, call in speakpipe.com/feeding off each other. And as always,
Wait. Are you metaphorically well fed?
I don't know what that means.
Nobody does. But it's
You stumped me right at the end.
Yeah.
we're
Feeding
fed
off.
off each other for an hour and 50 minutes.
So is your soul well fed from the experience?
Yeah. No, I do feel like I am nicely full.
Chicken sashimi.
Yeah, podcast
Yeah.
sashimi.
We definitely fed off each other.
And as always, no. Never made it to the end of the podcast, eh, Darcy?
Thank you for listening to Feeding Off Each Other. Please subscribe for more great podcasts.